Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Oh Brother Comics. Today, Nick, Matt, and I are going to be going over our 10 and 10 comic book review. That's the review where we take 10 books that came out this last week, we go ahead and read them, and then give you our thoughts on them. Well, we only got 10 minutes to get through this, and Matt, you're up first this week, so what do you got for us, bro?
What's up, everybody? The first comic that we will be talking about today is Refrigerator Full of Heads, #1 by DC. This comic is an absolute trip. I love the Jaws reference. You got to read it to understand it. It starts off brutal with like all caps. Yeah, like holy crap, brutal. I have no clue where this story is going to go, but I'm really liking it. DC's Black Labels have been absolutely enjoyable, and the story is so like full of mystery, a lot of gore. But it's also kind of has like a cheery feel to it, which is very welcoming. And yeah, I really like it. It's very interesting and a very clever combination. I give it an amalgam 3.6.
The next book on this list is Batman Secret Files Peacekeeper '01. It's written by James Tynion and Ed Bryson and art is by Joshua Hickson. This book was quite good. Tynion does a great job at capturing the emotion and the feeling behind each of the characters that he's writing about. This book really lays out the origin of how Peacekeeper '01 was created, and you really start to feel bad for Sean. You just see that he wants to do good and he wants to be accepted, but unfortunately his views and his beliefs have been corrupted throughout his life, and now Scarecrow is using his fear toxin and he set Peacekeeper '01 on the warpath. This book was a lot of fun to read. I rated it a 4 out of 5 this week.
All right, first up for me is Black Manta #2 by DC Comics. This is written by Chuck Brown and illustrated by Valentine Delandro. So I have to say that this one is much better than the last. Even though this story is a bit slower with much less action than the first issue, I felt that it was overall more coherent. The ending was very confusing, though. There's just not really any transition into the first appearance of Devil Ray. And again, you get really no context there. Overall, it was a good read, but it is shaping up to be one of those miniseries that you really need to have all of the issues and read through them all at once in order to get the full picture. So I rated this at a 3.4 out of 5.
All right, guys, the next book that we will be talking about is Tales of Alexandria, the Bright Queen, #1 by Dark Horse. The writer is Darcy Van Polgeest, and the artist is Couple of Kooks. And this issue is truly fantastic. It felt very cinematic, very immersive. It's very fantasy based. The imagery really hooked me in that element. I love the characters. I love the action. Really everything about it. If you like D&D and Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and all that kind of genre and themes and time period, then you will like really love this book. I give this issue a voluminous 3.2. Stoked I checked it out.
The next book we're going over is Batman #115. This is written by Becky Cloonan, James Tynion, and Michael Conrad, and art is by George Corona, Bangle, and George Jimenez. This book was a lot of fun this week. There's a lot of setup going on that will be leading into the upcoming issues where we see the Scarecrow executing his master plan with Peacekeeper '01. Meanwhile, in this issue, Batman and Miracle Molly are running all over the place looking for the brain machine that is hopefully going to help them get the upper hand and use it to help defeat Scarecrow and Peacekeeper '01. I rated this a solid 3.8 out of 5 this week.
Up next for me is the Orville Artifacts Part 1 of 2 by Dark Horse Comics. This is written by David A. Goodman and illustrated by David Cabeza. So this issue was spot on with the TV show. The dialogue, the comedy, the interactions is exactly how it would play out on screen. And as I read this, I read every line in every actor's voice. It's just spot on. The art is great. It looks just like many of the Star Trek comics that are out there. So it does have a familiar feel. And I really overall just enjoyed this issue. And I rated this at a 3.8 out of 5. I'm really looking forward to the next issue of this two-parter.
All right, you comic nerds. The next book we're going to talk about is Possessive #3 by Zenoscope. I have been loving this series. I'm so sorry. The writer is Hans Rodenoff, and the artist is Adam F. Goldberg. And like I said, I've been absolutely loving this series. This was the third book and final conclusion to the story, and I'm so sad to see it go. It was truly epic, truly a gem. I found at times I was rooting for the main character Todd. At times I was rooting against him. At times I was rooting for the ghost or the Dybbuk, which is like a Jewish term. So if there's anyone that knows how to pronounce that, please help me out. So it's hard to separate this one issue from the whole series to score it as a single issue, but I'm consciously going to do that. I give this a bittersweet 4/7. Sad to see it go, but so thankful I found this story.
The next book on the list, we have the Star Wars The High Republic number 10. It's written by Cavan Scott and artist by Georges Jantry. This book was just a lot of fun. It's an action-packed Star Wars book that I am truly enjoying. We continue where we left off with Keeve and Kotabi as they were infiltrating the Nihil. Unfortunately, they did not expect to run in Myagra the Hutt. That was the Hutt that was helping them out with the last arc where they were fighting the Den Greer. Well, Myagra wasted no time in blowing their cover with the Nihil, but this was really kind of a cool part of the book. We got an awesome reveal where we got Lorna D, the Tempest Runner, make her first appearance in the comics in this issue. It was so cool to see her actually take form from the novels. Well, she makes very quick work of the Jedi who were under the understanding that Lorna D had been killed, and unfortunately, she's not. She is back. This book was so much fun, and the Nihil are just so freaking cool. It was definitely my pick of the week. I rated this a 4.2 out of 5.
Final book for me is Thor number 18 by Marvel Comics. This is written by Donny Cates and illustrated by Pasquale Ferry and Bob Quinn. So once again, Donny Cates has written an amazing story. I am absolutely loving every second of this new Thor run, and the art in this issue is just absolutely stunning. The transition from the dark-hued, dreary scenery in the beginning to the bright and colorful cartoonish style of Forever Glade, Throg's domain on Earth, was just absolutely great. I love that Throg is just so many steps ahead of Thor. It really drives home how preoccupied and out of his element Thor is at this point. And Cates is just so good at portraying the feeling and emotion throughout the story, and it really pulls the reader in. This was my pick of the week. I mean, how could it not be with the introduction of the all-new Pet Avengers? And I rated this at a 4.8 out of 5 because this story is just so close to being perfect.
All right, dude and dudettes, the last book we will be talking about is Night of the Ghoul, number 1, which is a Comixology exclusive. The writer is Scott Snyder, who's been cranking these out on Comixology. Like every week, he has another book coming out. And the artist is Francesco Francavilla. I'm going with that, Francavilla. And this story was really, really good. It's very clever. It has a very original feel to it. It definitely feels very layered with the story and what's going on, the characters. It seems like everyone's kind of has their own agenda. It can be a little bit complex, but after like a couple read-throughs, I feel like I got it pretty straight. It is a little wordy, but then it was kind of cool. Like when I first started, it was a little bit wordy, but then as I was reading it, I was getting more and more engaged, and I feel like it like sucked me in without me even like realizing it. Like when you wake up and you didn't realize you fell asleep and you like jump, like when the story was over, I was like, oh, it was like, it's over. Like I felt like I was like in the story. So it was really cool. Like it really just like mesmerizes you and brings you into the story. And I really like the idea of the ghoul. It's like a story in the story. And so it's like the ghoul is like the original monster that somehow brought about vampires and zombies and werewolves and all these things. So it's a really cool idea. The story ends like right when it's about to kick off. So it really left me wanting more. I will definitely be reading the next issue. I give this book a sneaky 3.8. And again, perfect book for the time of year.
Well, guys, that was close, but we got it within 10 minutes. We hope you all enjoyed this video. We thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the list that we put together for you. If there are any books that we missed this week, please leave us a comment down below. We'd love to talk to you about it. Also, guys, I want to say thank you so much. We hit over 100 subscribers and we couldn't be happier. Thank you all so much. This comic community is amazing and we look forward to making more content for you guys in the coming future. Guys, thank you all for watching. We will see you all this coming week. You guys have a good weekend. We'll see you later.